Welcome to Binaryhood, back with another video. Today we will create a clock application. So to get started, we will clone the starting repository hosted on the GitHub channel of Binaryhood. It has the user interface that we need to build the application. So let's just do that. So you need to go on the GitHub channel of Binaryhood. So this is the link and it's also in the description. So if once you're there, press on this green code button and copy this HTTPS link to clone and come back into your Xcode and press on clone an existing project and paste the link over here and press clone. It will prepare and then you need to give the destination where you want to save this repository. You're creating the new project. So I'll save it on my desktop, and as you can see, it creates everything for you, and then it will just basically download the repository from GitHub into your Xcode. While it's loading, I just want to let you know that the user interface has already been created for you, and we will just basically start a deep dive into the code part. So if you want to learn how to create the user interface, there is a video that I did where we create the BMI calculator. I do everything, I create the user interface from the start, align it, and basically tell about stacks and everything. So if you want to watch that video, go on my YouTube channel and basically just watch it over there, and then you learn how we created the user interface part. So this is the user interface for the clock application basically. So we have our hours, we have our minutes and second. So this is our view controller if you are not aware of what it is. So we have our designs over here, and this is our launch screen. So once you come into a launch screen, you will see that this has your launch screen. So basically Binaryhood channel name and everything. So it has been done for you. So let's go into the launch screen first and press on the background. So, and we'll choose the color to be black basically. So once you're done with that, press back and go into your view controller, and I want to show you the asset folder. So each image has been created for you. So for the hour, so we need 60 images, so the time is till 60, and we have our app icon, and we have our horizontal line and our Binaryhood. So the asset folder is where we have the images for our user interface, because Apple doesn't provide you custom UI, so you need to create it yourself. So we'll go to our main.storyboard and we'll open up Assistant, which basically opens code side to the main.storyboard, so you can see the code and the view, the main.storyboard. So we will link up our hour, minutes, and seconds with our IB outlets. So let's just do that. So IB outlets basically connect the images in the code, and then you can change those images programmatically. So this is our hour. So hold the control key and drag and drop and name it hour, and make sure that it's UI image view, and it's just connect. Do the same for the minute and connect, and do the same for the seconds. So now once we have connected all three of our hour, minute, and second, you can basically come over here and it will show you which part you have connected. We need to now basically create a function called update UI. So we'll create a function called update UI where we update our user interface every second. So let's just do that. So to create a function, we need to use func keyword and say update UI, and we'll just create the function like we create normally. But now I just want to come and tell you how we basically update we will update the time. So we need to create a timer basically. So what a timer is basically, a timer lets you basically run your function how every second or every 2 seconds or every 1 minute. So we want to create a timer that will repeat every second and will update our UI. So to create a timer, what we need to do is type timer.schedule, and here the code will come. So you see this code, so you want to press schedule timer, and what you want to do is you want to do so drag and so you want to do with so we want to give 1 second repeat, 1 second, every 1 second it will repeat, and then we want to do repeat true, and we want to delete this part, and what we want to do is open the curly brackets, and we want to open this bracket, and we want to say in, and then we are good to go. So let's just get hold of today's date, and we want to say date, and let's just go get hold of the current hour. So we want to use something called calendar.current.component, and from component what we want to do is we want to select the hour in this first parameter. So we want to get hold of the hour, and from today date that we selected over here, that we created over here, the variable. So if you want to view it quite bigger, we can do this, and what I'm going to do is just copy paste these 3 things and just change it over here: minute, second, and I just want to change the current minute, current sec. So now we have current minute, current hour, current sec. So what we need to do now is basically we need to change our image that we see in our main.storyboard with the current minute, current hour, and current sec. So let's do that. So how we do that is basically we want to use these IB outlets. We want to say self.hour.image, and we want to use something called UI image, and we want to say named. So we want to use named images. So once you see in the asset folders, we have these named images 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to get the time that we have. So in our view controller, come back. So in your view control, come back, and you want to use something called string. So you want to stringify this int current hour. So if the current hour is 12, it's gonna string itself to 12, and it's gonna pass through the UI image, and it's gonna find this 12 image that is over here, and it's gonna replace the hour image with 12. So that's what it's gonna do. So let's just do that with the others too. So we want to do self.minute.image is the property that we're changing, and we're going to just give it UI image and named, and we want to string it with the current minute self.second.image. You're going to come UI image, you want to press named, and you want to do string, and you just give the current sec. Just do it inside current sec. So now it's basically updating the UI, but it's not gonna run unless we call this function. So we will call this function update UI when our view is when our view did load function is ran. So this function will run when our emulator or our device will open our application. So this is the first function that will run. So because when our view is loaded, so this function will run automatically. So let's just type our function over here, update UI. So this will basically run our code. So let's go in our play button. So we're going to press play, and I've chosen iPhone 14 Pro. So this will automatically basically run our application on iPhone 14 Pro. So let's just do that. And here is our emulator. So now the time over here is 3:42, and look, it's running our code, but we can't. Now the second step is basically we need to basically change the images when we change our phone to landscape. So let's do that now. So press on the square button to stop running this. So we need to basically create something called a notification, an observer. So an observer really basically will observe when the device's orientation is changed. So let's do that. Notification center, and we're going to use notification center, and we're going to use default dot add observer. And basically when we add observer, we're going to select this first part. So if you come back into our view controller, so make it easy, so we're gonna choose some self, and our selector we're gonna say hash. So we're gonna name a function basically. So Objective-C method that we're gonna create. So we're gonna name it orientation change. Make sure the function name is correctly, because we're going to create the same function in the bottom. So, and for the name, you want to select UI device. So UI device is the device that you are running on, and orientation did change notifications. And for the object, you want to select nil. And now in the bottom, you want to see UI device. So we want to start basically generating the orientation notification as soon as the orientation is changed. So we want to say UI device dot current and dot begin generate device. This first begin generating device orientation notification. So it's a quite long function that's been provided. So what we'll do is basically start generating the notifications. So let's create the function now. So you want to do at Objective-C. So because it's an Objective-C method, so we need to type at Objective-C before the function. So func orientation changed. So press orientation. So just select the name that you gave over here. So orientation changed, and just open it. And so what we want to do is basically now we want to select our UI device's current orientation, and we want to see if it's landscape or portrait, and we want to basically rotate our image based upon that information. So let's do that. Let's say if our UI device dot current dot orientation is equals to dot landscape left. So landscape left is when you rotate to landscape of left, and landscape right is when you rotate to landscape right. So we're just going to use landscape left to show you what we want to do now. And we want to see else if the UI device dot current basically current dot orientation is equals to dot portrait. So now we have the if and else if conditions, but we need the code. So for the first time when the application runs, it's already in portrait. So we want to basically transform our image. So let's say our.transform. So our is the IB outlet is equals to our.transform.rotated. So we're going to rotate it by CG float, and we're going to give it a value of double.pi. So double.pi, I'll just tell you what it means. So this means it will rotate it by 90 degrees. So 90 degrees. And we're going to do the same with the minutes second. So just copy and paste to reduce the redundancy. So to save yourself time, and just do second and make sure to change it over here too. So yes, and do minute. So now we're done with the when it's landscape left. So now we're gonna do is basically we're gonna transform it back when it's in portrait. So we're gonna transform it back when it's in portrait. So we're gonna do these, we're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste it over here, and we're gonna give it a -2 value. Make sure to create another bracket for this minus, because we need to give it an in minus. So copy this and just paste it. So this will basically reverse it, reverse the rotation. So let's run the code and see how it looks. So it doesn't basically look properly well because now it's in portrait, but it's looking like it's in landscape. So, and when we go in landscape, it looks really good, but when we come back to portrait, it doesn't look good. So basically what happens is, I'll show you. So what happens is when it's in portrait, basically the orientation is already in portrait. It basically rotates itself back even though it hasn't even rotated it. So we need to create basically a boolean check over here. So we'll come over here to check if it's already in portrait, so don't change it. So we're gonna come back over here and say check, and we're gonna give it a type of bool, so that's boolean, and we're gonna give it an initially value of false, and we're gonna create a variable that tracks of if a value has been changed. So we're gonna count how many times it has been changed. So we're gonna give value, and we're gonna come and give it a type of int, and we're gonna just choose 0. So if you come back over here, we're gonna check, firstly we're gonna check if our check condition is true. So check will basically is false at start. So we're gonna check if it's true, then only transform it. So we're gonna change check to false now here because it was true. So we're gonna change check to false. So this part is done. So it will only rotate after the portrait has been done, after portrait. So because the device initially is in portrait. So let's go back and check if our value is less than 1. So if the portrait is, if it's just started, if the application is just launched, and the value will be less than 1, so we don't want to rotate it, and we want to say value plus equals 1. and we want to check true, and we want to say else check is also true, but now transform, because it's the second time. So now the portrait, now the landscape code has been run because the device orientation was changed, and now the device has come back to portrait. So now change it back. So don't change it when it launches, change it back after landscape. So let's run the code now and see how it looks. So it looks now when the portrait is launched, now it's originally in the 90 degrees, it's not changed. So now if we change it into landscape left, it looks a lot better. So, and when we come back, it comes back to its original position. So that's what we wanted. So the aim for today's video was to show you how to create a simple clock application. So this is how we create a clock application, and it's really simple. You can basically create it and show it to your friends, and this is a really cool way to basically build applications. We're gonna create more applications, so subscribe and hit the bell icon, and basically like the video. So, and go to GitHub of the Binary Hood GitHub, and basically clone the repository if you want to build this application with us. So thank you for sticking along the video, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.